Welcome back to our weekly energy update for energetically sensitives and empaths. My name is Bryndis. I'm a professional energy healer and energy coach. And I'm going to guide you through this next week. Try to make you see what I see, what to expect, and how to contextualize it. But as a special, I want to wish you guys all a happy new year. This is the official beginning of the new year here with the equinox, the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere and the autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. Welcome, and maybe you can feel this. Maybe you can feel this really strong shift that is coming in right now. So there's a new energy coming in, and I give you a heads up here. This is going to be a new feeling for you. There is a little bit of anger, there is a little bit of light bulb, and then there is a really, really big call for action. All right. This is an opportunity for you to share, for you to ask questions, and for you to let us know how you are going through this time right now as energetically sensitives and empaths. We often have this issue that we don't know really how to put things into words, how to put things into a language that other people understand. And this is what I want to talk to you about today, because when I look at the energy coming in for this next week, there's one big shift coming in, and that is this conscious witnessing of what it actually is that we came here for. And I know what this sounds like. I don't want to mystify this. I don't want to, make this sound like, we just got to sort of tune into the divine and then everything is going to be fine. Love and light and truth is going to heal everything. Well, I am kind of going to say that, but I don't mean it in that way. The way, you begin to see the world when you have this ability to see truth, and when you have this ability to contextualize what you are experiencing, is that you regain your focus. You regain this piercing through the veil type of perspective, and you're beginning to see things the way they are. Now, what does that mean? Seeing things the way they are. Does this mean that I have to, prove to everybody how bad this world is, how mean people are, how hard it is as an empath, to be exposed to all these energies? Is this really what this power that comes with awareness, that comes with consciousness, what this is supposed to do? For us to get this commiseration or this validation from others? No, guys, this is the part here that we are being made aware of. I know that many of you have been going through really deep, I don't want to call it trauma healing yet, because this is actually beginning now. So this whole year of 2019 is dedicated to our deep trauma healing, but not just as individuals, also as a collective. So you can see this in the media. You can see, of course, some of the outbursts of anger, of victimization, where people just simply had enough. And because they don't have the consciousness that allows them to make integrous choices, they just go and try to eradicate everything that is sort of the symbol of this abuse of power. So abuse of power is the big subject here. And those of you who have been working with us here at transCODES, where we do these ongoing sessions, where we do this ongoing inner healing work, all right, you have been going through a massive, massive release of this stored pain in you from the past. And this may feel a bit like a healing crisis to you right now, because when we actually go into this place of consciously facing our pain, what we discover is this, it's almost like we're stunned. We can't believe it. There's a disbelief about what this world and the people in it say, even our own family, our own parents, our own spouses have, done to us. And this stunned feeling is what distracts you guys from what the medicine is in facing your trauma and letting this all out, okay? So I want you guys to, this week, to consciously, if you haven't done so, okay? So if you're still in this place where you'd rather not look at all the pain and the suffering that you have been experiencing and what this did to you, that's fine. That's each and every one of our choices. But when you stay in this place where you don't want to look at it and you really don't feel like you can face it, you got to understand that your healing powers, your true powers, all right, your medicine cannot unfold. What does our body do? Any healing professional here, like be it a medical doctor or counselors or physical therapists or massage therapists, we all know that the body has the most powerful healing built in, all right? This isn't something that we actually need from the outside, but somehow along those lines of our collective conditioning, and this has going on for thousands of years, so this isn't, your fault or your flaw, but somehow it has embedded itself in our subconscious that we need something from the outside to heal. And yes, obviously there are some things, such as antibiotics and surgery and some of the cool advancements in medicine and so forth that are cool that we have those, all right? This comes as a side effect of, an evolving science and an evolving intellect that continues to happen here within our societies. But all this is really just there to emulate the true divine healing power that is within ourselves already. It's already there, okay? And so what we need to discover here, or rediscover really, is that we don't really need anything from the outside until our own self-healing powers can't really handle it anymore. That's when we need to reach out, and that's what we have healing professionals for. But the true power that we all have, this knowingness and this intuition, all right, without mystifying it, to go into the right place, to be at the right place at the right time, to say the right thing at the right time, to feel prompted to do something for ourselves, be it for our body, for our heart, for our emotions, for our intellect, or for our relationships, when we need it. The problem arises internally and externally when we don't follow that inner prompting. And there's, of course, a massive sort of ripples of that. So one of the things that are easy to understand, obviously, is that if you engage in something that is physically not healthy for you over time, this will create a bunch of physical problems, wear and tear, or injuries, or things you're going to have to deal with down the road. What about emotional abuse? What if you allow emotional abuse and you basically disregard your inner promptings, to choose a different situation, to walk out of it? You disregard it. You're creating a lot of inner turmoil, inner conflict, energetic stress. Not just emotional stress, not just physiological stress. We talked about this in the past weeks, our nervous system and how that, gets zoomed into this fight, flight, freeze, or submit type of conditioning. No, we also get conditioned to not actually hear those inner promptings anymore, to not actually even assume that there would be anything in us that could do anything about it, and we are succumbing to our suffering. And that's something that we need to change. That is the shift that is coming in, guys. When you hear people like myself talk about surrender, surrender to truth, surrender to your pain. This is not the same as succumbing to suffering. Okay, pain is inevitable, guys. Pain is part of our learning, transcendence, and healing process of our natural evolution. But suffering is a choice. And when we succumb to suffering and spend the rest of our lives focused on trying to prove how bad the abuse is, to prove how bad our suffering is, want other people to acknowledge this, and this is what we get so distracted by, that we actually can't see that the choice to walk out, or the choice to say, no, sorry, this isn't good for me, I'm just not going to participate. That the choice between facilitating, of course, we want to be open, we don't want to isolate, we want to be with other people. Our physiology, our everything is designed to be with others, to communicate with others. This doesn't just secure the survival of our species. It's also something that makes us happy. Okay? No matter what it is that you do with yourself, like say reading a book. Reading a book in your own safe space, like say somewhere in your house or somewhere on your own. And reading a book like say in a park, where there's other people there, but you're not really connecting or communicating with them, produces, happy hormone, produces happy neurotransmitters in you. So there is something in us, all right, that wants to go into contact, and we have to facilitate that. We have to stay open. But at the same time, this doesn't mean that we have to accept things that aren't good for us. Accept that, these whatever constellations that we are in, and this is has a lot to do with karmic healing and really looking at the predispositions that we sort of were born into. Okay, then to see, okay, yes, I acknowledge that I have had a rough childhood, I have had a bad start, or I don't even know if it's bad, I just had this childhood exposure, all right? And yes, that is part of my reality, but that doesn't mean that I have to be suffering for the rest of my life. And I know what this sounds like, guys, and I don't want you to think that I'm diminishing the subjective experience of suffering. I'm talking about the deeper energetic and spiritual aspects of that, okay? So it isn't until the moment that you realize that suffering is, that there's a choice in suffering. Okay, pain, we can't do anything about pain. We can't prevent pain. We can't prevent our children from experiencing pain. We all have this sort of predisposed, sort of succession of needing to make certain experiences, according to our developmental stage that we are in. Okay, and it is then with age and with awareness that this maturity sets in, and we understand that there is an acceptance aspect to that. But there also has to be a forgiveness aspect with that, and a compassion aspect, and to look back and say, oh yeah, I remember what it was like to be a teenager and life was tough. When you go into this place, you're accepting things the way they are, but you're not succumbing to them. Okay, you surrender to the divine nature, to the divine cycle of things, but you're not succumbing to them. Okay, your body, your psyche, your heart, your spirit is designed to come up with a sort of a magical self-healing capability in the face of adversity. So if you really want to tap into your own self-healing power, into your own medicine, you're gonna have to let yourself face adversity. See it for what it is. Don't deny it. Guys, you're not gonna get anywhere if you just spend the rest of your life in trying to prove truth, or trying to prove how bad you have it, or trying to top others in how bad it is. You see what I'm talking about? To go into this place of witnessing your own adversity, your own, say, karmic disposition does not mean that you are, sort of identifying yourself as a victim, and from then on, you don't need to take responsibility. No, it's the opposite. The moment you witness yourself and your own pain, and eventually, due to this divine nature that we all have, you facilitate other people's pain, or the witnessing of that, all right? That's when your medicine, when your self-healing power begins to take on form, begins to manifest in your life. But the first step, this taking action step, that has to come from you. You have to look at it and you have to say, this is my pain. And it helps to have someone who is willing to witness it with you. Okay? So I want you guys actually start a movement. I want you guys to those of you who are very active in social media, type hashtag #IWitness, letter I and then witness, and just say something, that encourages either yourself or other people to just accept where they're at and to move forward and to allow this to be witnessed. Okay, there's a huge, huge power in this. That's why self-healing groups and spiritual groups and all this, that's why, they are so up and coming, because this is something that we haven't even explored yet. How we as people, not in mobilizing and standing up and doing a revolution and going against the establishment. No! In finding together and finding out what it truly means as individuals and as collective to heal together. Guys, this is the task here for this next evolutionary step that our societies, our collective, is heading towards too. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you for your hearts. I know that, this kind of talk makes us feel cringy a bit, because, I'm speaking to a part of you that knows truth. But I'm also, of course, speaking to the part of you that just simply wants to be acknowledged. And if you think about this, okay, we're talking about sort of collective conspiracies or whatever. This isn't what this is about. Just think about it. If you wanted to keep a whole entire collective in this focus of trying to prove that you exist, trying to prove that it's your pain, trying to prove injustice, what would you do? What would you do? I mean, if you were to abuse your powers. You'd always make them wonder. You'd always make them stay in that place of self-doubt. That's why you got to break out of that wheel, trying to prove your pain. Okay? So, guys, every week we have a giveaway, and usually what I do is I give away tickets for ongoing sessions that we have, and the next 10 days are going to be massive in this discovering your own medicine, actively going into your own self-healing. I'm going to be busy literally 24/7, okay? And I want to give you guys the opportunity to, if you don't have the money, or if you have never experienced anything like this before, to get a little freebie here. I'm giving away 2 tickets for what I call energetic tune-up. I used to call them energetic adjustment session, but I've just rebranded them. So the energetic tune-up is the same as the energetic adjustment session that I do once a month. And in that session, I go really deep into your energy body. I literally tune into the field for the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's the next month. I give a lot of forecast with this. And then I send this field, this coming energy through your energy body, and observe how your system deals with it and what the medicines are that your system comes up with. Okay? So it's like a forecast and also a roadmap for you for the next month. And the way I do this is, you know, through remote energy healing. It's a 1 hour deep clearing session, and then 15-minute break, and then we have a live webinar, and I do live readings there for you guys, for all of those who are participating in this. So it's extremely exciting, guys, to see, you know, how I contextualize this for people. Each and every person who wants, you know, to have this personal reading their life, I contextualize these April energies for them. And it's like, you know, sometimes it's similar. So, you know, some of us have similar medicine, some of us have similar conditions, but some of us have very different conditions, and the context, you know, and how this will play out for them is completely different. So if you are curious and if you want to know what this is like, to go into this active self-healing with me, and at the same time also increasing your awareness about it, then type in "I want to connect with my inner medicine" here in the commentary. Okay, we have a first winner already. Justin, you're in. Oops, and Gosha, you were in. All right, so the 2 free tickets are already gone. I apologize for riling you guys up. You can, of course, buy ticket and participate. Anyway, it's a really impactful session. And those of you perhaps who have been in those sessions can put some comments here in there what it can do. Yes. All right, so we already have our 2 winners, guys. Sorry, this is the privilege for you being live here. So the 2 tickets for the energetic tune-up on Monday are already gone. Physically, as most of you know, I break this all down into physical, emotional, mental, social, you know, relationship, spiritual, and energetic aspects that we are facing next week for the people that work with me directly and who are subscribers of the Patreon channel that I have. If you want to get the heads up and get this in-depth energy tips video and some extra articles every week, then please check out my Patreon channel. The link is in the description here. But with the energy update, I usually cover some of the physical stuff. We have still a lot of 6th and 7th chakra, that's your third eye, and your crown chakra impact here this next week. People having issues with their eyes, with their skin and their hair right now, and the nervous system. So a lot of the tips that I can give you have to do with to really look into your inner guidance more and take action. You're gonna have to integrate a daily routine for your energy management, you know, how to self-clear, how to ground, how to center yourself, how to connect with your heart, how to call on grace. Those are things that you have to do. You can't just think about them. You can't just read about them. You have to do it. It's just like taking a shower and brushing your teeth. If you're not doing it, nobody else is going to do it for you. Okay? So if you are suffering from, you know, things in your body that you feel are kind of pulling you into this low place because you feel really, really dense, understand that it's not just you. Okay, so this is a collective experience right now for energetically sensitives and empaths. And the way to get through this is to become your own energy manager. Okay? Thank you guys for your wonderful comments and for all those lovely hearts. I so enjoy being live here with you every week. There's going to be an edited version. And again, if you want more info, if you want in-depth info, you can work with me directly. You can request a free initial energy coaching session with me, or become a Patreon subscriber for a donation, you know, just to get a little more info, to familiarize yourself with this lingo and the way I contextualize things. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, so you are very, very welcome to ask any kind of question, and I hope that you are taking something from these energy updates every week. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and to share the video. Bye-bye.